For millennia, the history of the world's greatest empires was thought to be written in stone and parchment. We believed we knew the limits of ancient ambition. But sometimes history isn't found in a library. It's hidden beneath the feet of those who least expect it. In the spring of 1974, in the parched lands of Shaanxi Province, China, a group of farmers set out to find water. What they found instead was an army that had been waiting in total silence for over 2,000 years. This is the story of the Terracotta Army, the accidental discovery of an underground empire that redefined our understanding of power, obsession, and the dawn of a nation. The year was 1974. The region was gripped by a devastating drought. 7 farmers, led by Yang Jifa, decided to dig a well near Mount Li, a site long associated with ancient myths, but offering little to the modern eye but dust and heat. As their shovels bit into the red earth, they weren't looking for history. They were looking for survival. At a depth of about 2 meters, Yang's shovel struck something hard. It wasn't a rock, and it wasn't a water pipe. It was the shoulder of a clay man. At first, the farmers were terrified. Local folklore spoke of earth gods and restless spirits. They thought they had unearthed an omen of bad luck. Little did they know they had just stumbled upon the greatest archaeological find of the 20th century. When archaeologists arrived at the scene, they expected a small burial site. Instead, as they brushed away the compressed loess soil, the earth began to reveal a scale of construction that defied logic. Beneath the fields of Shaanxi lay a massive subterranean complex, and within it, thousands upon thousands of life-sized clay soldiers, horses, and chariots standing in battle formation. They weren't just statues. They were a silent legion, frozen in time, guarding the path to the tomb of the man who created China, Qin Shi Huang. To understand why this army exists, we have to understand the man who commanded it. In 246 BCE, a 13-year-old boy named Ying Zheng ascended the throne of the Qin state. At the time, China was a fractured landscape of warring states, caught in a cycle of endless bloodshed and shifting alliances. But Ying Zheng was different. Through sheer military brilliance and a ruthless legalist philosophy, he did what no one thought possible. He conquered all his rivals and unified China for the first time in history. He declared himself Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. But for a man who had conquered the known world, the one enemy he could not defeat was death. Qin Shi Huang became obsessed with immortality. He sent expeditions to find the mythical elixir of life and surrounded himself with alchemists. But as a backup plan, he spent nearly 40 years of his reign constructing a necropolis, a city for the dead. He believed that his reign shouldn't end with his final breath. He needed an empire in the afterlife that was just as grand, just as organized, and just as protected as the one he ruled in the living world. The Terracotta Army was his final defiant stand against the void. The sheer scale of the pits is staggering. Pit 1, the largest of the 3 main excavations, is the size of an aircraft hangar. It contains the main body of the infantry, roughly 6,000 soldiers. They are arranged in a precise military formation that reflects the actual tactical maneuvers of the Qin dynasty. At the front stand 3 rows of unarmored archers, the vanguard, ready to unleash a storm of arrows. Behind them are the heavy infantry, armored and carrying spears and pat-axes. Flanking the sides are the rear guards and cavalry. It is a snapshot of an army ready for total war. But the true miracle of the Terracotta Army isn't the quantity, it's the quality. When you look closely at the faces of these soldiers, you realize something haunting. No 2 faces are the same. Some have thick mustaches and stern brows. Others look young and anxious. Some appear to be from the nomadic regions of the north, while others have features common to the southern tribes. The craftsmen didn't use molds for the heads. Instead, They hand-sculpted each one, perhaps modeling them after the real soldiers who served the emperor. This was a personalized army, a collection of individuals bound together by the clay that gave them eternal life. The level of detail extends to their equipment. The tread on the bottom of their shoes is visible. The rivets on their armor are individual studs of clay. The hairstyles, intricate braids, and top knots indicate their specific rank and unit. In their hands, they once held real functional weapons, bronze swords, spears, and crossbows. When archaeologists recovered these weapons, they found something that shocked the scientific community. The bronze swords were still sharp, and many were coated in a thin layer of chromium oxide, a technique for preventing corrosion that was thought to have been invented in the 20th century. The Qin craftsmen were using advanced metallurgy 2,000 years before the Industrial Revolution. However, the army we see today, in its dusty earthen gray, is a shadow of its former self. When these soldiers were first buried, they were a riot of color. They were painted with vibrant pigments, malachite green, cinnabar red, and a rare synthetic dye known as Han purple. This was a high-definition world. But here lies the tragedy of the discovery. The moment the clay figures were unearthed and exposed to the modern air, the moisture that had preserved the paint for 2,200 years evaporated. In a matter of minutes, the ancient colors curled and flaked away, turning into dust before the archaeologists' eyes. Today, many figures are left unexcavated, kept safely beneath the earth until technology can be developed to preserve their original colors upon exposure. And yet, as massive as the pits are, they are only the suburbs of the emperor's final resting place. About a mile away from the pits sits a massive earthen mound, overgrown with trees and vegetation. This is the tomb of Qin Shi Huang himself. According to the ancient historian Sima Qian, the tomb is a subterranean palace filled with wonderful devices and rare treasures. Most famously, he described a map of the empire where the great Yangtze and Yellow rivers were recreated using flowing liquid mercury, moved by mechanical devices to simulate a constant tide. Above them, the ceiling was encrusted with pearls and jewels to represent the constellations of the night sky. For over 2,000 years, Sima Qian's accounts were dismissed as legend or exaggeration. But modern soil tests around the mound have revealed incredibly high levels of mercury, hundreds of times higher than natural levels. The rivers of poison might actually be real. To this day, the main burial chamber has never been opened. There are fears of booby traps, automated crossbows designed to fire at intruders, but more importantly, there is the fear of destroying what lies inside. Until we can guarantee the safety of the artifacts within, the first emperor continues to sleep in his palace of Mercury, guarded by his silent clay legion. The discovery of the Terracotta Army changed our perspective on Chinese history. It showed us a civilization that was capable of mass production on a scale that shouldn't have been possible in the ancient world. Estimates suggest that it took over 700,000 laborers and 38 years to build the complex. It was a project of absolute mobilization, reflecting the emperor's power to command every resource of the land. It also revealed the human cost of such grandeur. Skeletal remains found near the site suggest that many of the workers were forced laborers or prisoners who died during the construction, buried in anonymous pits around the monument they helped create. Today, the site is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most visited locations on Earth. But it remains a work in progress. Excavations continue, and every year new figures are pieced together from fragments. Archaeologists have found more than just soldiers. They have found clay musicians, acrobats, and bronze water birds, suggesting that the emperor wanted a full court to entertain him in the next life, not just an army to defend him. As we stand in the presence of these clay giants, we are reminded of the paradox of Qin Shi Huang. He was a tyrant who burned books and buried scholars alive, yet he laid the foundation for the Great Wall and unified a culture that has endured for millennia. He sought to live forever, and in a strange, poetic way, he succeeded. His flesh is long gone, but his accidental army has ensured that the world will never forget his name. They stand as a testament to the fact that even when an empire falls and its cities crumble, the stories we bury in the earth have a way of rising back to the light. The farmers who set out to find water in 1974 found something far more precious. They found a bridge to the past. They reminded us that history isn't just a collection of dates and names. It is a physical reality, waiting just inches beneath the surface. The Terracotta Army is more than just clay and pigment. It is the heartbeat of an ancient world, a silent scream of ambition that still echoes through the halls of time. As the sun sets over the Shaanxi Plains, the soldiers remain, eyes fixed on the horizon, waiting for a command that will never come, guarding a secret that we are only just beginning to understand.